Oh God, another friend started using the same three letters after his name. What is that? PMP? What is PMP? How to become a PMP? I am Sabri C. I am the instructor of the bestseller 35-hour PMP exam prep course on Udemy. And today I will talk about how to become a PMP. To learn more about my Udemy course, just click on the link below. So, let's start with PMP. What is PMP? PMP is the abbreviation for Project Management Professional. It is a certification provided by Project Management Institute, and it is one of the most valuable project management certifications all around the world. And for this reason, there are lots of professionals desiring to get the certification. If you wonder how to become a PMP, watch this video until the end because there are some steps you should follow to become a PMP, and I will explain all of these steps in this video. To become a PMP, you should follow 5 steps. The first step is you should sign up and complete a 35-hour project management course. This is a requirement to apply for the exam, and you cannot apply for the exam without completing this 35-hour course. My course on Udemy satisfies this requirement, and therefore after completing this course, you can go to the second step and apply for the exam. To apply for the exam, you need to satisfy the exam requirements. I will talk about these requirements in a few minutes, so let's just skip this. Application is an online process. You should go to www.pmi.org and apply for the exam over there. You will be filling in an application form and submitting it online. Filling the application form is an important process, and if you do it wrong, your application might get rejected. Since this is an important process, I will create another video to explain how you should fill in the application form for the PMP exam. After you submit your application, PMI will review your application form. They will read the information you provided, and if your application satisfies the requirements, then it gets approved. This approval process usually takes around 3 to 5 business days. Sometimes, your application may get audited. PMI says, after submitting your application form, you may get audited anytime, even after you become a PMP. But based on my experience, I can say, for most of the time, if you are selected for an audit, you get a notification email right after you hit the submit button under the application form. In other words, if you don't get a notification email saying that you are selected for an audit in a few minutes after submitting your application, then most probably you won't get audited in the future. If you are selected for an audit, PMI will ask you to prove all the information you provided in the application form. So, you will need to submit documents to PMI that will prove the information you provided is correct. I will create another video about this audit process in the future. Once your exam application is approved by PMI, you can schedule your exam. Please note that you need to take the exam in 1 year after your application is approved. PMI calls this 1 year as the exam eligibility period. In other words, the period of time during which you are able to test is 1 year. But what happens if you can't pass the exam on the first try? Or what happens if you can't pass the exam on the second try? The good news is you may take the exam 3 times during the exam eligibility period. But of course, you will need to pay for each exam. After you schedule your examination, you will be studying hard to take and pass the exam, and this is the last step you should follow. Once you pass the exam, you will get your PMP certification. The PMP exam is considered to be one of the hardest project management exams, and you need to study seriously to pass this exam. But don't worry, in my 35-hour course, I explain everything you need to know in a very detailed manner to make this step easier for you. Alright, a few minutes ago when I talked about the second step, I said I will talk about the requirements to apply for the PMP exam. So let's talk about this a little. There are some eligibility requirements to apply for the PMP exam. First of all, at least you need to have a high school diploma. Then, if you have a secondary degree, this is if you have a high school diploma, associate's degree, or a global equivalent, you need minimum 5 years or 60 months unique, non-overlapping professional project management experience. Here, I would like to underline the word non-overlapping. So, for example, if you worked on 2 projects simultaneously for 3 months, this is going to be counted as 3 months, not 6 months. Or if you worked on 3 projects simultaneously for 1 month, this is going to be counted as 1 month, not 3 months. I think you get the idea. If you have a 4-year degree, in other words, if you have a bachelor's degree or global equivalent, this time you need to have minimum 3 years or 36 months unique, non-overlapping professional project management experience. So, if you satisfy these eligibility requirements, you can apply for the PMP exam and become a PMP. Alright, if you like this video, don't forget to click on the like button below. To not miss any videos about PMP certification in the future, just subscribe to this channel. I will see you in the next PMP video. Thanks for watching.